Yeah. Yeah. Hello. This is Jason E. and welcome to the Trading Ascension Podcast. While discussing topics related to personal and spiritual development and day trading, this podcast provides thought-provoking concepts and direct energy to help us evolve as a human and a professional trader. I'm logging my journey. Now, today's topic is self-love. Now, hold on. Before you run off thinking I don't need to hear about self-love, the soft BS, this isn't related to my trading, Jason. Hear me out. Because the trader who doesn't hold self-love is a trader who isn't ever, and I said ever going to become consistently profitable. Ever. So today, I'll talk about why the lack of self-love ruins trading results, ruins relationship results. We'll talk about what self-love is, how we can obtain this self-love so we can quickly go further on the path towards our desired trading and life results. So like we hate to drive through, let's get it in. I want to start with a quote. And this quote comes from an extremely resourceful book known as the Bible. Now, in the Bible, there is a chapter or a book called Matthew. Now, the 25th chapter of Matthew in the 29th verse reads as follows. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. So what does this mean? Well, it alludes to the fact we have to be whole within to attract more. You can call it law of attraction, law of resonance, call it whatever you want. Simply, when you are desperately taking action to get something that you believe that you are missing, your chance of taking rightful action is diminished drastically. Now, if you read any trading book, it usually says don't trade with money you need or money you can't lose. Most trading texts are very clear that you can't trade in desperation. If you need evidence, I encourage you to look up trader blown accounts or Forex blown accounts on YouTube. It's sad, it's eye-opening, and hilarious all at the same time. The market doesn't care about your bills, your rent, your mortgage, your car payment. If you engage any trading market with desperation, you're likely to get chewed up. And just think about it. People in situations on earth are less likely to cooperate when we have desperate energy. If you're in sales, they call it commission breath. And no one wants to, get that call from that commission breath, end of the month, want to hit my quota person, right? In dating, they call it being thirsty. In sports, mistakes are allowable, but when the previous mistakes make it so the results are chased away, they call it a slump. So it's obvious when we think about it that there is a factor of being resonant with your goals as you seek them that we all know about, right? This isn't a secret. In life in general, when we aren't whole as individuals, we can act out selfishly, a lot of times unknowingly, because we are desperately seeking what we are lacking within. And as they said in the Bible, with that energy, you're going to lose everything. And I love to give the example of when I was traveling or commuting to work in rush hour and I wasn't full, I wasn't whole. I would do things for the ability to receive something from others, rather an accolade. We can do these for a pat on the back, a thank you. And for me, I'd let a car merge in, right? And I'd be thinking, oh, I'm such a great guy for letting this car cut in front of me. And then I would impatiently wait for them to wave in the rear view, or if it was hot out, stick their hand out the window and just, hey, thank you, guy, you're awesome, right? And when that didn't happen, right? I wanted to take that action back because it wasn't an act of unconditional love. It had a condition attached to it. Like, oh man, F that chick. Or I'm going to rush around and cut this guy off, right? Super petty. People, in theory, they act unconditionally when they can't put their needs aside. And when you're the type of person that is the people pleaser, right? And you're wanting to take care of everyone else, it would seem like that's a great way to make friends or meet an awesome partner. But in reality, it just repels. You know, leaving that person wondering why no one wants their services around. The good news is we have the ability to fulfill this need ourselves. And this will impact the actions that we take in life and the actions that we take in trading. So what is self-love? It can mistakenly be called confidence, but you can fake confidence, so it's deeper than that. The reason it's called self-love is because when you hold this energy, you have a deep inner self-acceptance. And you may want things that aren't in your physical reality currently, but it's approached as an addition, not filling a hole or a lack. This inner acceptance of your current now and reality, it can level up to gratitude, which is by far the most powerful energy to take action from. Now, love by definition is a strong feeling of affection and concern towards another. And this is a one-directional flow, according to the definition. So a side note is if you're taking action with the only goal of getting something out of it or out of that action, out of that person, that isn't love. So sorry to any narcissists out there. You know, this is also why the most successful traders will tell you to focus on the process, because the process is something you can put into without worrying about what you're getting out of it. You know, I ran my first mastermind and accountability group with a great bunch of guys. And I noticed once we were all locked in on the process, things really started to improve. They started to pick up. There is no action a human can take with that unfulfilled energy towards anything and call it true love. That lack within, that emotional, psychological, spiritual lack, it will present itself as a need. Not a want, a need. And thus, like breathing or even trying to hold your breath, maybe, eventually you'll be forced to act on that inner desire to be fulfilled. And again, this may be unconscious. So just like that function of breathing, it can be controlled by our body, but it has no issues automating itself. So we can act out selfishly because we have these lack inside of us unconsciously. So how can we obtain self-love? How can we power up our trading in our life by acting from a place of wholeness? 4 ways. And like I mentioned earlier, we have the ability to service this need ourselves. Not that others can't or will never need them to. We will. But especially in the feeling of lack, it's our job as a mature human to fulfill ourselves. Why would we deprive ourselves of what we need and what we can give ourselves only to hold others hostage to give it to us? You know, i.e. love, congratulations, a pump up, an ego boost. The path of a trader can be lonely. And unless you're on it, it's hard to understand the turmoil, the inner upheaval that it causes. So when you need encouragement, a pat on the back, or a, hey, great decision, dude, you can give it to yourself. That's number 1. Tell yourself what you want to hear from others. Now, when you think about it, even if someone has known you for years, they don't know you like you know yourself. And you can say the needed and timely things to yourself that not even your nearest friend or partner can. You know, and even if they're great at edifying you, right? They know you like you know yourself, I've heard people say. Can they do it just moments after it's needed? Moments after you realize you need it? Chances are they can't. Because you can do that for yourself. So this is so powerful. I remember in 2014 when Matt Kahn brought this ability, and I'll go as far as to say this power, to my attention. So I remember the moment that this came in my life because it's been so powerful since. Now, number 2 is don't let yourself drift too far away from reality. When we get away from the current moment and the realness of what's happening, problems start to arise. It's true that there are few to no problems in our present moment. Now, there are the rare, of course, few, like, when I was young, looking down the barrel of a gun at a random but common event, as a child, or when my knee was dislocated, right, from the lower half, and I looked down, it's swinging back and forth like a clock chime. At those moments, I had problems. But those, in the span of a lifetime, they're rare events. A vast majority of the time, we have a problem that is looming. We are expecting it soon, but soon isn't a problem yet. It's a potential problem, maybe even a challenge. And like Einstein said, problems aren't solved from the same level of thinking that created that problem. So this potential problem isn't helped, fixed, or aided by dwelling in the fear of its realization. So let's do an exercise if you're skeptical on this one. I want you to think about a problem, a challenge that you have right now. And just take a moment, think about it. I'm going to take a sip of my kombucha. All right, if you're skeptical, you got something, problem you have right now. So I want you to close your eyes. We're just going to take 3 deep breaths. My mic, probably you won't be able to hear me breathe, but we're going to start now. Okay, that's 3. So open your eyes and look around. Are you in imminent threat? Is the problem closing in on you at this moment? Can you point to it? Can you see it? If so, turn me off right now and go handle your business, right? But if you realize you have a future problem, I want you to congratulate yourself on being a real thinker, not a chicken little. And then what this can do is allow you to switch your mind to solutions. So if you do have that problem that's looming, write down 20 solutions, dumb or not, because the problem mind loves to eliminate solutions early so it can stay on the problem. So by writing these down in a bunch, you start to shake off that undesired, unserving problem worry energy off. All right, so that's a rant. I digress. Back to the topic at hand. So again, that's number 2. Stay present and away from thinking you have a problem if you don't. Number 3, practice gratitude. Third way to increase self-love is to practice gratitude. Now, when you spend time, just like writing that list of solutions, when you spend time forcing yourself to write what you are thankful for, you turn the other cheek from lack. You start to feel more whole. Doing this daily, making this a habit, can really harness that strength of the thankful energy within. And that energy, it fills your soul, and eventually it can eliminate feelings of lack. You'd be amazed, maybe you wouldn't, but I'm often amazed by how many problems arise from the lack of gratitude. It's even now a new popular slang, or even a cliche, called first world problems, right? You hear people complaining, like, oh, that's a first world problem, because it's not a real issue, right? They're just being ungrateful usually. Number 4, visualize. Now, as promised, there is going to be a whole episode on visualization in the Art of War for Traders Part 2. But I want you to go back to some episodes, the Art of War Part 1, and also look to Neville Goddard. I've been in the personal development industry corner to corner for quite some time, and there are very few individuals that talk about visualization and the powers of the mind who aren't sort of borrowing or foundationally sound in Neville Goddard. So I encourage you to look up his information. And ultimately, it's going to support you in moving a step closer to becoming the person that you need to conduct consistently profitable trades. I'm working on this. I hope you will add this to your life and do the work as well with these 4 steps. And I really hope this was helpful for you because it was fun to create, and I truly appreciate you listening. So if you enjoyed this podcast, I want you to share it with someone you care about. You can check out other conversations, thought-provoking thoughts, and personal growth, spiritual growth trading talks at tradingascension.com. Look for new and upcoming motivational videos on the Trading Ascension YouTube page. And I want to thank you for your time. And remember to be the hero of your story.